Hello everyone, welcome to Dubbadha. My name is Margayonas Pula. I am a journalist and academician in the field of diaspora, media and communication based in Bonn, Germany. Today I'm going to talk about disinformation and the threat it carries within the context of the Oromo's information ecosystem and the wider Horn of Africa. But before I start that, let me give you a background to the Oromo and explain the name of this show. The Oromo are a Cushitic people located in the Horn of Africa with a population estimated to be over 40 million, which is almost equal to the population of Canada. The Oromos are predominantly in Ethiopia and parts of Kenya and Somali, of course, also in diaspora. They hold significant political and socio-economic influence in the Horn of Africa as well. So, what is the philosophy behind Dhugaa, the name of this show? The philosophy of Dhugaa has two meanings. It has dual meaning. And the first meaning is related to more nourishment. That means Dhugaa is almost equal to saying drink while you talk. If I could give you an example, um, there's a family who had a guest, two guests over, and they offered them coffee, like I'm drinking here now, or they offered them a beverage of their choice, and um, people, these guests might get into discussion and debate. They might forget drinking that beverage, um, or their coffee, and then the host will remind them, um, don't forget your drink, while you talk, while you debate. It means balancing the mind and the body. While you nourish your mind through the debate and the talk, please also don't forget to nourish your body through the beverage that is um, available to them through the host. So it's more of saying stay grounded, stay present, not only discussion and debate, but also uh, take what the house has offered you. The second meaning is integrity. In that sense, Ugadubada is almost equal to tell the truth. That means if we take the same example, while the two guests might be into an intense debate, and the host might find from one guest that he or she has been using, um, uh, you know, claims that are not based on facts. And then the host remind this guest by saying, please tell the truth. So it is a call to speak what is real and reject falsehoods. Thus, Ugarbada show promises to be a space for conversation that is aimed at countering disinformation. This episode is a monologue, as you can see, but the consequent ones will host guests such as experts in countering disinformation, journalists, fact checkers, and etc. So the core objectives are actually to question what exactly disinformation is. And the second one is what does it look like within the Oromo information ecosystem? So the mission is to counter hate speech and false narrative through media and digital literacy. So as we consume or as we take uh, foods and drinks into our body for our physical health, the information that we take into our mind also determines the quality of decision that we make. In that sense, the hidden cost is really high. When I say that, in German here they call it wer billig kauft, kauft zweimal. That means who buys a cheap product will buy with more expensive the second product. That means if a person bought a product with cheap price and take it home, the likelihood is higher that this person will return to the market to buy the same product with now even expensive price. So the warning is that if we consume low quality or fake news, it carries heavy price in making our decision. So what is disinformation? It is today very hype, the word, along with misinformation and malinformation. So before I go to disinformation, let me give you also what misinformation means. It is a false information. Misinformation is a false information with no intention to harm people. If I can give you an example, a person might share a claim that is not based on facts online, and a follower might just reshare this post without questioning if this carries a harm. So there's no intention to harm people, and this person just take it for granted or took it for granted and share it online. So there's no intention. But as for disinformation, it is information, but created deliberately to cause harm. That means there is an intention to cause harm on a group of people or individual. There is somehow related concept also, and that is malinformation. Malinformation is a true information shared online, but the intent is to cause harm to this person. If I can give you an example, for instance, it is a medical record of an individual, which is factual, but if one shares this online, the intention is to harm this person. So that is malinformation. So why disinformation is dangerous? Disinformation that has an intention to harm people. It is today coupled with technology, and technology also brought speed, and also we need to consider the psychological aspect of how we consume information. So there are three aspects why these are dangerous. When we talk of technology today, you need only your laptop and 30 minutes to create deep fake AI generated fake videos. So that is what the technology has been offering us. And the speed is also another worrisome. When I speak of speed, it is, the falsehood can travel very quickly and reach people in the village and cause harm. Um, and when I speak of the speed, it is not only limited to, digital. To digital, let's say somebody here in diaspora shares something online, and somebody in Oromia, and for that matter in other parts of the Horn of Africa, um, might look at this information on their smartphone, that is digital to digital. But also there is a likelihood that the person who read that from in Oromia might reshare that through word of mouth. And even if the population of uh, that region are majorly not online, there is a likelihood that um, digital disinformation can be translated to, word of mouth disinformation. That is where people transfer, information that they heard from somebody, and share it within their communities. The psychological aspects also some other aspect that is really worrisome. This is often, as a human, we seek information that confirms our beliefs. Um, that is also one major problem, which will lead us to remain in our echo chamber. Um, uh, the problem is that with the psychological aspect, um, yeah, people are the, the tendency of people to believe uh, false claim um, is very higher, because it might reach out to their emotion, and their collective identity and so on. And after this claim is debunked or verified, there is a likelihood that the first information that people kept or took it into their mind will remain there. There was a study that was conducted where people are exposed to false claims and people tend to believe that false claims. And they've been shown after 2 weeks that this is not based on fact, and it's been verified. It's not anymore true. And this group has been asked after a few months which information they still have in their mind, the verified one or the original claim. And people tend to believe still the original claim. So I would like to talk also what are the characteristics in the Oromo information ecosystem. There are four characteristics. One is fragmentation of information needs. The other one is oral tradition, clashing with digital speed, as I highlighted earlier, and political polarization, that is pro-government, opposition, diaspora, armed groups, all in between. And also there are language as a weapon and also can be used as a shield. So the four characteristics are fragmentation of information needs. This speaks to different needs that people in different locations tend to consume. For instance, a farmer in Oromia has different information needs from an activist in Germany. The other one is oral tradition clashing with digital speed. That is trust in elders, as in traditional way, is now being translated to unreliable actor online. The other characteristics in the Oromo information ecosystem is political polarization. There are people aligned along pro-government, opposition, diaspora, armed groups, and all in between. Language as a weapon and also can be used as a shield. Afan Oromo is a widely spoken language in Africa. However, disinformation spreads under the radar. That means disinformation are often conducted either in English or majorly in Amharic, a working language in Ethiopia. There are three major pathways of disinformation spread. Pathway number one is diaspora versus homeland echo chamber. For instance, fake accounts are created both in homeland and also in diaspora. I can take an example of information created and shared here in diaspora, which travels back to Oromia and be taken as a legitimate news. The second pathway is expert impersonation. This is really a major problem, but it's also another passage where disinformation is spread. And these include fake accounts that impersonate respected journalists or activists and community leaders. And for instance, there are people who create fake accounts of these leaders or activists or journalists and share information or claim that is not based on facts. And the information might sound plausible, but it is misleading information that goes viral. So the real person denies that he didn't say that or post that, but the damage is already done. Pathway 3, that is the historical contestation. Fake historical documents and fabricated quotes can also be major passage for disinformation. If I can take an example, there are people who try to rewrite history, and in that way they poison the deliberative quality online, and people get emotional and get into really heated debates, and then the online platform becomes a battlefield for competing fictions. So what can we do? There are two actions for everyone. Approach information with healthy skepticism. When I say that, pause for a while before sharing information that you think it's touch your emotion. Ask questions like, who is saying what and why? And who is behind this content and why they are trying to share this information? What's advantage or benefits are they going to take from this action? For us, like media and information professionals, Let's build culturally specific media literacy for the people. Um, and also, let's engage in training, which should understand Oromo context and language. So, generic how to spot fake news workshops are not enough. In closing, I would say the promise of Ugadu Badda is to drink your coffee or beverage of your choice, but at the same time, talk deeply about what matters most. Tell the truth, facts. Until the next episode, my guy.